DownHome Sports, covering all the sports in Ellis County. Brought to you by Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Pinnacle Bank, not just another bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Located off of 287 in Midlothian, Texas. And Dough City Pizza and Burgers. For artisan burgers, pizzas, and ice cream, make sure you go where it's delicious to Dough City Pizza and Burgers, located in Red Oak, right across from the high school. All right, boys and girls, guess what? It's that time of the week that CSM's going to get us going that way.
Guess what, kids and coaches? We have a fantastic lineup for you this week. We've got a couple track teams, Waxahachie PrepTrack. We got Midlothian Girls Track. We've also got Ennis Baseball and a couple of fantastic sit-downs with a commit and some state-ranked placed powerlifters. Tell us about it.
I tell you what, folks, so many things going on this week. We got more coming out on our Facebook page. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter, on Facebook at www.ellisdownhome.com. Make sure you check all these out because we got more sports information coming at you than I know what to do with.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Coming in hot.
We see the future in her. And as she grows, bonds are bigger. Lessons are learned. We plan for her future with those we trust. So when the day comes and she's ready to soar, she'll do it knowing there's always someone there. Pinnacle Bank, not just a bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Member FDIC.
We are welcoming in Midlothian Women's Track. We've got Coach Johnson. We've got Avalon Mitchell. We've got Megan Holland. We've got Jade Ferrell joining us. Thank y'all so much. And between the three girls we got on here, we're covering a lot of events. Coach Johnson, I want to start with you. Talk about this year. I know track meets, you'll see you usually get anywhere from 6 to 10 to 15 different teams, and they are condensed. And we all know why. Yep. But talk about how it's been different, maybe competitively, seeing less teams at these track meets and how it's maybe affected some of the way y'all have trained or how you go about these events.
So in regards to the competition with the just 8 teams that are usually at the meets, we're able to see our kids compete instead of seeing all of these other people, you know, in the way and things like that. So we're able to give them more attention. And in regards just to it being high level, we're still in the same fire that we were in the previous year. So it works out perfectly. But in regards to training, it hasn't really impacted it much as far as training goes. But I like the less teams being at the meet because we're actually able to give our kids true attention and not be so caught up in all of these heats of events and things like that. So it makes things go by faster.
Well, I want to ask you, when you're talking about getting the attention to the kids, I know you've got a lot of events to cover, so it falls on your assistant coaching as well. Talk about the help you have over there in Midlothian and how key it is having that trust with your assistant coaches to be sure that these girls are taken care of.
Man, it's truly been a blessing. I can definitely say hands down that we do have one of the best coaching staffs in the nation, in my opinion, because we all have track backgrounds. You know, I have the jumps, we have a true throws coach, a true hurdles coach, things like that. And we've been together for many years now. So that trust is already built in. And we know that we have each other's back to help the kids and things like that. If I can't be somewhere, I know there's another coach who can be, especially in a situation that I've been in early on in the season where I had to coach long, triple, and high. We have assistant coaches at the high jump while I'm at long and triple, or Coach Foster, who's a head coach, he'll go, to one of the jumps. So it's truly been a blessing to have this staff.
Well, Avalon, let's go to you, okay? So here's what I got for your times real quick. On the 1600, we got a 5:46. On the 800, we got a 2:32. Just talk about the dedication to these events that you got to have to reach those kind of times?
Okay, yeah. So I've been working a lot by myself this year. I'm like, I guess, the oldest girl in my running group. So it's a lot of leading and it's a lot of working by myself and running against the clock. And so that's also like at the meets, it's a lot of running against the clock, and there's great competition, but sometimes you just have to push yourself, which I'm really excited about because I think that might be how it's going to be at district. So I'm really just trying to run against the clock and push myself without anyone else.
Awesome.
You're good. So Jade, I'll come to you though. Now you do high jump, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so Tater did get that one right.
Right.
But I want to ask, besides just being at practice at the track and going jumping over and over again, go through your routine of what else goes into it to prepare. It can't just be run and jump, run and jump. What kind of training regimen do you go through to help prepare for that event?
Other than I do outside of school training just to help me with my speed and my starts. Our new coach, he likes to do a lot of like approach stuff, like technique, like our last couple of jumps, just to work on our height in our jumps. So it's not really all about the running. It's more about when you get to the bar. So like your technique and how you arch your back and how you place your head when you go back and your arms. So it's just getting your body in the right place while you're jumping over. So it's not really all about this. It is about the speed, but it's mostly about just going over the bar.
Well, Megan, in your events, right, what is the most underappreciated thing that you have to train for?
Runways.
Runways?
Runways.
That's it?
That's definitely the hardest part, because depending on wind and depending on like how fast you want to be that day, it just making it to your mark is the hardest part.
I can see that. Well, Coach, you know, one of the big things over there at Midlothian has always been, you know, we've always had a great cross-country program. And that's kind of helped out with our long-distance runners and stuff like that. But you're seeing a lot of speed this year. The 4-bys are doing excellent as well. Can you talk about just getting that mindset changed over there?
And that's the main thing behind it. That's what Joey Foster preaches day in and day out. Just the mindset, having the killer instinct, wanting to be great, not doubting yourself, and wanting to work hard day in and day out. It can't just come at the meets. It has to be at practice as well. Actually working hard, putting forth the same effort you would put into a meet day in and day out. It's been a lot better than what it has been in the past in regards to mindset and talking to the kids about it. It's almost just an expectation now. I've been at Midlothian for 4 years, and I know Coach Foster has been there a little bit longer. So as far as this point, you know, it's an expectation. Have that killer mindset, have that killer instinct, go out and get it. So the kids are hip now, you know, as far as the mentality behind it.
Awesome.
Well, Avalon, I want to talk from an athlete standpoint, the chemistry that you guys have. And I know everybody does so many different events, you're spread out, but having each other's back when you're at a meet, and then when you're not going, you're there cheering your teammates on, and how it means to you girls in the Midlothian Panthers to be sure that y'all are a tight-knit group.
Okay, so I'm also in cross country, so I'm super close with all the long distance kids, and I'm in classes with all of the other track kids because we all have the same schedules pretty much. And so I don't know, we work out every day together. We're like huffing and puffing, like laying on the ground, picking each other up. It's just like a family mentality. It's what Coach Foster's always instilled in us.
That's awesome. Well, Jade and Megan, I'm going to ask y'all both this question, okay? Y'all are in events that are kind of behind the scenes. You know, most people are sitting around the track all day, and they don't necessarily get to see what y'all do, except for the fact that, Jade, I think your PR is 5'4". Is that correct? And Megan, I got down 18'2".
Yes, sir.
So do y'all sing I Believe I Can Fly every time? And number two, how does it feel to get, the recognition this year with the great job y'all been doing and people getting to know who y'all are based on events that not everybody really gets to see? Megan, we'll start with you.
It's a really special experience. This is my first year at MHS, so it's really special, and I'm gonna remember this forever.
Awesome. Jade?
As a very closed off person, it's kind of overwhelming when people recognize it, but it feels good because I've worked really hard to get where I am.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Well, Coach Johnson, talk about a little bit on the upcoming schedule, what you guys got. I know the district meets have got to be coming up. You guys have been doing great things, but I mean, it ain't over. Talk about what's coming up and what the expectations are when we get to that district meet.
So this week we have district for JV on Thursday, and the following week we have varsity district on the 7th and the 9th. So, the expectation is to go out there and win, to do what we have to do, take care of our business on the track, because the only thing we can control is what we do on the track. So making sure that we're coming in with the right mindset, making sure that we're warming up, making sure we're leaving it all on the track. So I'm excited to see what the kids do this week.
Well, ladies, show of hands. Who all's going to podium at the district meet?
Yep. Raise your hand.
There we go. All right. And Coach, just talk about what a tough district you're actually in. I don't think people realize how competitive this district is.
Yeah, it's very competitive, especially in the field events and the relays and just the running in general. All of these teams deserve to be here. We deserve to be here. Everybody's putting in the same amount of work, if not more, taking care of their business off the track. So we definitely don't take it for granted. Everything it's going to be very competitive. It's going to be some heat at this meet at our district. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Well, ladies, I got a question for all three of y'all. We'll start with Avalon, okay? But what has this coaching staff meant to you and your progression on and off the track? Avalon, go ahead.
So Coach Foster, he approached me in middle school. I'm pretty sure he's approached every single kid in middle school, but he really just made me want to do track and cross country. And I was so nervous. I was lame. Let's not lie. I was lame in middle school, and I was afraid that I wouldn't have any friends in all of this. And I met the cross country team, and I fell in love. And I fell in love with the coaches. They are incredible, and I couldn't ask for a better coaching staff.
How about you, Jade?
Like Avalon, he did approach me, and then I was a lot more cocky because I was one of the top middle school runners. But when I got to high school, it was very hard and very nerve-wracking. But Coach Foster's very personal. He wants to get to know you. So also with Coach Johnson. So it's just they're like family now. I can always go to them, and it's just, they're the best, honestly.
Well, Megan, I know this is only your first year, but how have they impacted your season thus far?
Well, like both of them said, Coach Foster came up to me, I think it was 5th grade, and he just got me so excited. I was excited all through middle school and everything. And then Coach Johnson, I recently hurt my tailbone, and every day she was sending me a text, "Are you feeling any better? How are you feeling?" So it meant a lot.
And Coach, how do these ladies impact your life?
Man, that's like an hour-long interview story right there. But they've impacted me more than what they think. They teach me life lessons day in and day out. For me, it's not just about track. It's not just about cross country. I care about them outside the track. I want to make sure that they're well, that they're doing okay, checking on their mentals, things like that, because kids go through so much that us adults, we barely even know. And so just to make sure that they're okay off the track, then we know that they're going to be okay on the track. But they've impacted me so much. Each and every day, it's like I'm learning something new, whether it's just something about music or just something about life or something. But they're amazing. We're truly like a family at MHS, and that's something that I'll forever appreciate.
Awesome. Well, ladies, when all three of you podium here at the district meet, we do expect a TikTok of Coach Johnson to be released. So we'll be waiting patiently for that. But we thank y'all.
No, let's change that. How about a TikTok with Coach Connor?
Oh, now that's gonna be one to see. That's if we can. We gotta find him first. You know, he's at pole vault all day long.
Oh yeah.
And so, well, we appreciate y'all jumping on with us, taking time out of your evenings. It means a lot. And we want to wish y'all the best of luck with district coming up. And then we'll get out there and get some footage. And hopefully we can get some people to come watch, cheer you guys on, because we fully expect Midlothian to show out and get to that regional meet. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Are you hungry for the best burgers, fries, and pizza in Ellis County? Well, stop by Doe City Pizza and Burgers, where the ingredients are fresh every day and stacked up just the way you like them. Custom seasoned fries and burgers right off the grill on in-house fresh homemade buns. So head on down to Doe City Pizza and Burgers, where everything there is delicious. Doe City Pizza and Burgers is located in Red Oak, Texas, right across from Red Oak High School. Make sure you come down and have the best burgers and service in Ellis County.
In Waxahachie Preparatory Track and Field, we've got Coach Keith Post, we've got Ethan Bishop, and we've got CeCe and Camylle Fung. We want to welcome everybody in. Thank y'all so much for giving us time out of your day. We know you're very busy. As we kind of talked about before, girls, you're at dance. I know y'all came kind of straight from practice too. So thank y'all so much for taking time. We really do appreciate it. And so, Coach Post, I want to start with you. One thing you had kind of brought up in kind of our pre-recorded meeting here was that, you shared track over behind Howard. But one thing that's kind of come up too is it's a little crowded there at times, but then the meets that y'all are trying to go to, you've gotten 3 in, and you don't think it'll be able to form one because of COVID until regionals. And I've got to ask, as compared to past years, how different has it been to keep the kids focused, to keep them in shape, to keep them going when you're trying to prepare for normally when you would have other meets, and now you're going to have this big delay until regionals?
Well, that's a very good question, but I will say this. Our kids are pretty dedicated no matter what. Winning the state in the cross country and the type of competitive spirit and discipline that several of them have, even if they didn't run cross country, has made it a heck of a lot easier for me. There's no question about that. In the years past, there's no doubt it would be good if we had our own track or we had a little more room and we weren't cramped. We lost some track time with the snowstorm and the freeze that we had. We lost a little bit there, but they have been very good to continue working and very diligent at it. We have a couple of new kids that are trying it for perhaps the first time or the first time in a long time. And so we kind of have to stay on them a little bit, but nothing major. They've been very dedicated to making it happen. So we're very pleased with that.
Well, and CeCe, you and Camylle both do a little bit shorter events. How do y'all like doing that? I mean, being great students is amazing, and that's what we've heard about y'all, is that everybody on this screen with us is a great student. But as far as being, participating in those kind of activities, what excites you about that, CeCe?
About exactly this track or
any of your
in
events?
general? Oh, in any events.
Any of the 30 that you participate in?
Well, I definitely love jumping. That's one of my top things. So I'm really excited to do photos and long jump and triple jump and track specifically. But I also like how in dance, I get to really express and kind of like, despite what's going around in the reality, it's kind of my escape from being, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, and Owen, a little bit more distance here, right? And, talk about how, going from that state championship cross country team to these distance runs, how that prepared you this year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, preparing for cross country and having those practices and kind of building up that endurance to end up pushing and winning state definitely helped me in the track season, because I was able to carry that over training throughout basketball season, and then being able to come into track with still maintaining my endurance and being able to perform well.
Awesome.
Now, Ethan, you're a guy as well that did some cross country, and you do distance running. You play basketball. Talk to us a little bit about, because all those kind of run together as far as some may overlap, but you're going from one sport to the other, and you're also, as Coach kind of mentioned to us before, all great students here. How difficult is it, or how much, I guess, does it help you when you're going with such a mentally grueling event like cross country, or you come out on track and do the 1600 and you mix playing basketball in the middle of that? How tough is it, or how maybe enriching is it to participate in all these sports for Waxahachie Prep?
Well, just getting the opportunity in the first place, with it being such a small school, you get to try out a lot of new things. This is the first year I tried out basketball, and I think a combination of trying out new things and having things that overlap, it helps your endurance, I feel like, and that's important for long distance runners, I feel like. So keeping in shape is not only is it important to become good at the sport, it's also good to keep in shape and keep that endurance up, which I think when it all kind of runs together just a little bit, it kind of helps that with.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you, when you're talking about these young men and women we have, I mean, Owen's on the debate team. These girls just got done with dance. But when you're at a smaller school like Waxahachie Prep, they are involved in so much more than even at these big schools. You'll have kids that just try to specify in one thing. In your opinion, seeing that, how beneficial is it to have and encourage these kids that if they want to participate in other things, to do it, and then how that can also help even when they come to track, that being maybe that multifunctional can help benefit them?
Well, I think it's absolutely essential for that type of thing. And if essential is not the right word, I think it's very important that we do that, because one, it makes you more well-rounded. It's kind of like cross-training, so to speak. Any sport that you participate in, if you can cross-train, you're just a better athlete at whichever one you want to make your primary sport. And so when they get out to track, they know that they're going to have to push and push and push. And just about the time you think you're going to wind up in third place and you feel somebody breathing down your, breathing down your neck, you're going to want to kick that in just a little bit and try to get on up there and make sure you get that third place or second place or even a first place. And so I think that's important to where they learn to discipline themselves and be organized in their life and stay focused on their goal, whatever that goal may be, and let's just make it happen. So I think it's a great thing for all of them to do. I was telling Ethan today after practice that I went to a big high school. I went to Midland Lee, and I never got a chance to play any sports in high school. There was just way too many, and I was a skinny runt and never got a chance. And I think it's the great thing that these kids get to do a lot of different sports, because it helps develop them and push them along. And just part of life, whenever you face challenges and tough times, you got to push through. And so I think it's a great thing.
Well, Camylle, talk about that small feel of a school when you're involved with so many different people, okay? And just the bonds that y'all are able to make and friendships through athletics and through, commonalities. Can you talk about that just a little bit, Camylle?
Sure. So, I really like having school, and then even having small basketball teams. It's like we don't have that many, and we're all really working hard. We're all working hard together, and it's that companionship, and all of us, we're all pushing each other to be our best. And it's really encouraging, and you feel like you're seen, and you feel like you're recognized, and you're all celebrate each other's accomplishments, and you always cheer each other on. And that's really encouraging, and it helps us to just keep pushing and keep going.
That's awesome. Well, Owen, I want to come over to you. You talked about touching on cross country and how it kind of transitions over even into track, but I kind of want to know the mental mindset of when you're doing those longer distance events, when you're doing the 1600, when you're going and you're looking to the guy maybe behind you or the guy in front of you, how much of a mental battle it is of when you time it out that you want to push ahead, when you want to sit on somebody's heels for maybe that right moment. What kind of goes through your mind when you're racing to when you're playing, not just, you know, turning them feet over and over and over again, but mentally in your head trying to compete and play with that guy next to you?
Oh yeah, it's a massive battle, especially with cross country and longer distances in track, just having that endurance and pushing. And I mean, it's just really important, just having that mental focus and pre-planning before the race. Like, I'm going to make my move here, or I'm going to practice this here, and just having that mental awareness and already planning it out and kind of making it muscle memory. So when you get out on the track or get out on the course, you already know what you're going to do. Even if you have people passing you left, right, you're like, it's okay, pace myself, and I want to get back all of them on that last curve, or I want to get back at them here, and just knowing where you need to go. So when you're in your race, you can focus on pushing yourself physically and not having to worry about the whole mental side of planning out and the strategy of the race.
Well, Coach, when you're able to bond with these kids the way that you are, how special are these relationships as you get able to continue to build them, and how much growth and development have you seen out of the just let's just talk about the four that are here?
Okay. Well, this is my first year to coach track with.
Yeah.
And so these kids are, some of them I've had in some of my classes or a study hall or something. And, but the time that I've been around them, they've allowed me to make a lot of mistakes. And I think that's critical whenever you're in different types of relationships, especially on a team. You can encourage each other when you're down, and whenever you're not sure that you're doing the right thing, whenever you're struggling a little bit. And as a coach, I know that I'm still learning a few things about coaching them, and yet they have accepted me for who I am. They know that I'm not a perfect track coach, and they have taken the responsibility upon themselves when I say, all right, you guys, I'm counting on you to go over here and do your workout while I'm over here working with a few others. And they have just jumped right in and helped build that camaraderie with each other and with me. And I have the utmost respect for all of them. They've just done a fantastic job. And these four that we have here are some of our leaders, and anything I ask them to do, they're willing to do it. And that's good for a coach to know that you've got that kind of relationship, that you don't have to fight them all the time. That they're going to be right there behind you and encourage you, say, Coach, thank you for coming. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Thank you for coaching us, Coach. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm just so blessed to be a part of that, without question.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ethan, I want to come to you from the athletes level. When you're in a smaller school, you've got those bonds and those friendships, and you're spending all those times practicing, even though y'all do different events. Talk about the relationships and being there to cheer on your teammate, even if you're competing in practice, trying to get each other better. And I know that y'all get involved with so much more than just track, being at a smaller school, but talk about how competing together helps foster those relationships.
Well, when you're competing against each other, there's always a sense of, I've got to get better. Just, whenever you're going against somebody, it's always helpful when you're someone next to you fighting the same thing that you are and going along with the same thing you are, so you can edge each other on just constantly, and just like, okay, make one step ahead of them. When they catch up to you, go, okay, got to keep pushing myself. And I feel like that's a very important relationship, and it really does help build character and friendships.
Nice. Well, Coach Post, I know, like you said before, the next event on your schedule will be the regional meet unless something else falls in line. But could you give us that date and when that's supposed to be, so maybe we can get some word out there and hopefully maybe catch y'all guys running in that meet?
Okay, currently it is scheduled for April the 21st. And as far as we know, there's not going to be any changes. So that's when it's set. And we hope to find something in between. If not, then we're just going to keep working hard and pushing and learning as we go and become the best that we can be. We've got some excellent athletes that have a chance for some potential state meet. And so I think we're going to do pretty well for our classification.
Well, Coach, we know that you did great at state this year in cross country, and maybe you can bring up a couple of podiums up on this track season. And we appreciate y'all coming on once again. Everybody,
Absolutely.
Thank y'all so much. And y'all folks, go out and check out some Waxahachie Prep Athletics. They got some people out there that are giving 110% every time they step on the track or on the field.
That's right. And I'll just tell the kids right now, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yes. Thank y'all. We do appreciate it, as I said at the beginning, to shine a light, to know that there's more out there than just 6A, 5A in the state of Texas. And y'all got some great athletes, some great kids, and keep doing what you're doing. We're very appreciative. And like Tater said, go make some podiums. So hopefully we can catch y'all down the road, maybe at a state meet as well.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
We see the future in her. And as she grows, bonds are bigger. Lessons are learned. We plan for her future with those we trust. So when the day comes and she's ready to soar, she'll do it knowing there's always someone there. Pinnacle Bank, not just a bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Member FDIC.
County, there's only one place to go. Doe City Pizza and Burgers. But don't worry, they got you also covered on ice cream as well. All kinds of flavors made in-house, just specially for you. And toppings to boot, as many as you like. So count your blessings for Doe City Pizza and Burgers and those big old scoops the size of Texas. Made just the way you want. So head on down to Doe City where the service and food are both delicious. Doe City Pizza and Burgers located in Red Oak, Texas, right across from the high school. Come on down and try them.
All right, we are welcoming in the Ennis Lions baseball team. We got Coach Monreal, we got Clayton, Jenkins, and Aiden Castillo. We appreciate y'all taking time out of your evening to talk to us. I know y'all are busy. I know you're putting in the hard work because right now you're sitting at the top of a very, very difficult district. And so, Coach Monreal, I'm going to go to you first. What do you think of the season so far? You're 11-6-2, I believe, 3-1 in district play. Got a tough one against Cleburne coming up. Got to be pretty impressed, though, of where you're sitting so far.
Yeah, it's like I tell the kids, you know, you got to play. You got to play every day, and we come to work. And I think the biggest thing that we have going for us is I got a tough bunch of kids. I mean, they're tough and they don't panic. And you get down a run or get up a run, they just stick to it and keep, you know, chipping away. And the biggest thing I would say is we have great at bats, and we pressure and have good at bats, and I mean that's all to those kids buying into what we got going here, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Well, Clayton, you know, Coach just mentioned great at bats. Y'all haven't really had cool bats all season. I mean, y'all been there all the time, and with, you know, the storm that came through, and then not having everything, you know, like a normal season. How have y'all been able to accomplish that so far?
Well, I mean, we've just been working our tails off individually. Coach Monreal will have organized practices, I mean, every day after school, but when it's off season, I mean, he's constantly just, if y'all want to go out, the cages are open. And I mean, you'd go out there every couple hours and there'd be 2 or 3 guys there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and there'd be 4 or 5 other guys there at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, just hitting and getting it in. And I think a big part of this year is just everybody's kind of bought in on their own time and put their own time and effort into it and invested into it. And it worked out for a lot of us. A lot of us have hit very well this season.
Well, Aiden, talk about on the pitching side, when you toe the rubber, you got guys behind you that put up double-digit runs against Waco U. And when you got hot batches scoring runs, how much more comfortable does it make you as a pitcher when you get up there to know that I can fill it up, trust my defense, but if we're going to put runs on the board, I don't have to try to do too much?
Yes, sir. It plays a big part in it, having insurance runs, like you said, letting the defense work. We have such good infielders and outfielders, and it takes a lot of stress off my back. Try not to be perfect, like you said, and our offense has worked all year. Every start I've had, we've put up quite a bit of runs, so it's played a big part in it for all of us, the whole pitching staff.
Well, Coach Monreal, I want to ask you then what the secret's been. Is it just having a group of guys? Is it maybe a philosophy of, hey, we're going up the middle the other way? Are you mixing more like hitting runs in to get them to swing early? What's kind of been the recipe for success to get these guys so hot early and continuing to see success?
I would say the biggest thing is we hound on hitting the fastball. I mean, it doesn't matter where it's at, in, out, up, down. You hit a fastball, and you don't let them sneak a fastball by you. And the other thing would be, it's obvious when you get 2 strikes on us, we're going to bear down, and you're going to have a tough at bat. And you know, for us, especially nowadays in high school baseball, if you have an 8, 9, 10, 11 pitch at bat and strike out, that's a positive at bat. And with the pitch count there and all that, and the biggest thing is I tried to instill in these kids that when you get 2 strikes, it doesn't get harder, it gets easier. Now you're just trying to put it in play. And so that's really been one of the positive things I've seen this year is our whole team has kind of came together, and they're a team. You know, even the guys that aren't playing, they serve a purpose and they're role players and they understand that. And it's been great so far. And I don't see it changing anytime soon.
That kind of reminds me of the old saying, the best way to hit the curveball is to hit the first pitch fastball.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
Well, Clayton, we've been talking about the offensive side, but I've got to see y'all a couple times thus far, and y'all got some leather that you're flashing out there as well. Just talk about, how that is translating into big wins, because I got to see you at Midlothian and that comeback win as well.
Yeah. Again, I think it just goes back to practice. I mean, we have our offensive days and our defensive days, but I think it's just a big part of us going to practice and locking it in. Like Monreal says, if we get good 45 minutes of just ground balls in the infield, just back hammering them down, left, right, middle, right at you, slow, fast, go chase it, go get dirty a little bit. It sure helps when you get out there and you have trust in your infielders, especially at first base, that like a throw from Jeremiah or somebody, or even Stanley, that just solid infielders put a glove on it and they knock it down, and knowing your runner and when to get it out, and you have trust in them that it's going to be there every time. And it's just the hard work that the guys have put in, especially since not getting big of a season last year. Just how much off time we've put into that stuff. It's just insane.
awesome. Well, Aiden, I will say that one thing that I feel like Ennis is known as is you're always going to play a scrappy team. I know going back to even when I was playing in Ellis County, it was looked at, if you're playing Ennis, you're in for a dogfight. And talk about the mentality. You're in a district with Cleveland. You're in a district with Corsicana. I know Cleveland was state ranked to start the year. Corsicana just came off of a state run last year. You got Midlothian. There's competition up and down, and you guys are taking the lead, scrapping and clawing. Talk about the mentality in Ennis and maybe the chip on the shoulder you guys got to prove just how legit you are.
Yes, sir. Since last year, my freshman year, from day one, Monreal always taught us that you're going to have to play with a chip on your shoulder. And this district, especially, no one's going to hand you anything. So that's just the way we played all year. And that's what's helped us more than anything, playing harder than other guys, especially. And like Clayton said, grinding in practice and taking stuff on our own time, because that's really the only way you're going to win in this district is taking it one day at a time. So,
well, Coach, one of the big things that me and Seth have discussed a lot is just the upperclassmen, missing that year last year, learning how to become leaders. And now all of a sudden you got a sophomore from 2 full seasons ago that's now a senior and in a leadership role. Talk about how the young men over in Ennis have handled that and excelled.
I think the biggest thing is after losing that season last year, we kind of looked at it and just kind of talked about it and said, this it's not going to be given to you every day. You can't take it for granted, and you got to play and you got to enjoy it. And it's like I tell the kids all the time, yeah, we can grind but at the end of the day, it's a game, and it's supposed to be enjoyable, and you're supposed to have fun. And but the only thing I tell them is it's a lot more fun than when you're winning. When it comes to them, I think we have a good bunch, and we have a solid group of seniors and a solid group of underclassmen that mash well together, and they respect each other and they play for each other. And at the very beginning of the year, just a little info, we had Austin Elbert there, played for us when he was a sophomore and then transferred over to Waxahachie, and still a lot of his buddies live here in Ennis and are really good friends with them. And that's kind of been on the coattails too of, hey, let's do one for Austin. Let's have a year for Austin. And I think the kids just ran with it and truly believe that, hey, let's put it on the mark. And at the end of the day, we can put our hats down and be proud about what we did.
I know that had to have been a tough situation all the way around, because you could feel it through the county. I know they felt it in Ennis, felt it in Waxahachie, but something like that I couldn't even imagine. So for y'all to rally around, that's impressive, and that's something to learn from as well. Clayton, I want to know from you, talk about what Coach Monreal has meant to you guys, meant to you personally, on the field and off the field. Good-looking young guy. I know you look around this county, you got a lot of old coaches. And so you seem like you get a lot of energy, a lot of fire from him. What's it been like to play for him?
It's been awesome. I've had him almost every single year except for my freshman year. And I don't have him just in baseball. I have him in football too. So I get to see both sides, and I just love the new style of coaching. And just he is a lot younger. And not saying older coaching is bad, because that's where I learned my fundamentals was from older coaches. But the newer coach that relates to us a lot, I think that helps gel with a lot of the guys. He knows what goes through our brain. He was here not too long ago, and he just it's just a lot of fun and really enjoyable. And I understand, and a lot of the guys understand everything that we believe what comes out of his mouth. And as you can see, we put it on. He puts it on a plate for us and says, "Take it and run with it. Let's go." And that's what a lot of us guys like. He's been a lot, and he's done a lot for this town. When you think of Ennis, you don't really think of a baseball town. Well, now you still see the football, but baseball's in the news now. It's not just kind of on the back burner anymore and just kind of on the back page of the newspaper. It's on the front now. And I think that's a big part of him right there. And I'm glad and we're blessed to have him here. That's for sure.
Well, and Aiden, what about you, man?
Same as Clayton, that just bringing a lot of energy to this town, and we love playing for him. We take pride in it, and a lot of the stuff he tells us is, like you said, he's Ennis born and raised too. So we take pride in being able to learn from someone from who came from here too. So, like Clayton said, it's Ennis is a football town, but we take pride in putting Ennis on the map for baseball too. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Coach Monreal, I want to ask you, we brought up the district a couple of times, and you got Coach Hides in Midlothian. You got Coach Autry down in Corsicana, who's an old Waxahachie guy. You look up and down, and you've got coaches that have probably forgotten more baseball than we'll ever know. But talk about being a part of this district, being a part of getting to compete against those other teams, those other coaches, what that means to you, and how it's kind of helped you develop in your young career to maybe some things that you hadn't learned that you take from them, and maybe some ways of, hey, I can do it different and do it better.
I will say that this district, everybody knows it's a tough district, and you're going to have to play and play well. And the deal with how we're running things now is, I just want to teach the kids that you got to pay the game. You have to pay the game. And what I mean by that is you got to do stuff on your own. We only get so many hours, and they have to pay the game. And I think they begin to learn that. And what I mean by paying the game, it's small things like somebody grabbing a bucket of balls that's supposed to go with this and putting it on the bus without a coach saying something, and grabbing chairs, and coach don't have to say anything. And it's part of something they've learned and they've kind of built in, and they've taken complete responsibility of it. And being in a district with a bunch of older coaches that I honestly played against when I was in high school. So I've played against most of them, and just knowing that you can't leave any stone unturned. I mean, you've really got to do anything possible that you think is going to help you win that game. And I just think that's been extremely helpful for me. And one of the biggest things I will say is when I first started coaching high school baseball years ago, I was at Arlington Martin, and we had a coach with Kurt Culbertson there, who's been doing it forever and ever and ever. And he's actually been kind of one of my mentors, and he really helped me out and showed me some things. And then when I went out on my own, there's some things I took with me. So you can always learn. It's like I told the kids, you can always learn from somebody else. And you got to just soak it in like a sponge. And that's what I try to get these kids to understand when we go through the process of baseball, even in between innings. If there's some kids on the bench, some sophomores that aren't playing, and we screw up somewhere in the middle of the inning, I'll go and explain what happened. What do we need to do? How do we need to fix it? What should happen? Just so those younger ones can understand, hey, we won't make that mistake again. And so it's been a big part of it, just learning from past mistakes, and that goes for me and my players. I want to play aggressive. They're going to play aggressive, and the deal is we're going to get thrown out. Well, they understand that you're going to get thrown out. It's going to happen. But at the end of the day, if we're doing what we need to do, as long as you don't get thrown out more times than you do, you're okay. So,
Amen. Well, Clayton, I'm going to ask you now. Okay, this is just for me, but what do you know about West Texas A&M?
They're good, that's for sure. I had the chance, me and my dad, they played UT Tyler, I'm going to say about a month ago.
Okay.
And they were, West Texas was ranked 17th, and UT Tyler was ranked number 10. And I went to go down there and watch a game. And I could tell Coach Monreal played for Coach Vanderberg there because the same things that Coach Monreal says, I heard the same things coming out of the dugout. Just drive the baseball and always talking about getting a barrel on the ball. Find a barrel, go gap to gap. And a lot of what works for me is just a lot of things Monreal says to me works for me, clicks in my mind. And it translates from Coach V, and a lot of stuff he says works or will work for me, hopefully. And you can just tell the correlation was there. And he picked something up from Coach V and put it in his coaching style. And they coach very similar. And I'm just glad to get a chance at the next level and go play at a high level like that. And it's a blessing, and I can't wait to get there. But I'm enjoying high school right now. It's fun. I want to get done with district and just go play in the playoffs, because the playoffs there's nothing like it.
Well, it's a really good program out there, and congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and no, I remember back when WT used to have Buffalo Chip Stadium. Okay, yeah. I'm probably a little bit older than Coach there, remembering that, but no, we want to thank y'all for coming on and spending some time with us. And, just I hope y'all have a good conclusion to your season. Know the playoffs are in your future, and just can't wait to see where y'all go. And hopefully once that happens, we all come back on the show with us.
Yes, sir. Looking forward
Yes,
to it.
sir. Thank you for having us.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Dan.
And, best of luck. I think y'all do play Cleburne tomorrow night, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So best of luck, and we can't wait to see it, and y'all go get them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We see the future in her. And as she grows, bonds are bigger. Lessons are learned. We plan for her future with those we trust. So when the day comes and she's ready to soar, she'll do it knowing there's always someone there. Pinnacle Bank, not just a bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Member FDIC.
All right, folks, we're welcoming in the powerlifting team, the state-bound and state-done, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Powerlifting team from Midlothian High School. We got Coach Anderson. We got Kaleb Tompkins, 165 weight class. Jordan Mckenzie, 165 weight class. Kaleb Tompkins, 275. Kodi Loper, 198. And Madison DeLeon at the 165. And Coach, y'all had a great time down there. You had it in Corpus. You had it over to Avalon, correct?
Correct.
And just talk about the way these four people and the rest of your program is done this year and the dedication they've shown.
I've had them all since they came in. It was a blast. It was a blast, and I've got DeLeon coming back one more time. But the three seniors on the screen, they're what you want and everything an athlete you can ask for. They put in the hard work. Kodi lifts they all lift year round. Don't get me wrong there, but man, we went down to Corpus. It was a long trip. It was actually my first time going to Corpus. We've been to Waco first 4 years here, and this was first time back in Corpus, and that was just such a beautiful place down there, and a huge facility. And then they just did great. They did great. They showed up. They did their best. They had personal bests on everything, and just had a great day. And then actually yesterday is when the men went. They went to Avalon. Been there many times. Been every year since I've been here, I know of. And I think Jordan, if he weighed a pound less, he might blow away in the wind. He came in way underweight, which was awesome, and still did personal bests. I mean, it was amazing. And then Kaleb, he decided, and he's a wrestler, state wrestler, state football player. I mean, all of it. And he said, I think I'll do powerlifting this year, and then he ends up going to state. So that was a major accomplishment. Another notch on his belt to hang another pin on the cap there. So yeah, all four of them were fantastic. Going to miss the three seniors, but excited to get DeLeon back and the rest of the team too. So,
well, Kodi, talk about that 11th place finish, okay, and how much it meant to you going to state this year, and I mean just performing at just an amazing level.
It was mind-blowing that I actually got to get there. I kind of gave up on the idea of going to state like sophomore year probably, and then I got to, and it was so cool.
Well, so what would you tell young ladies about that, about not giving up on your dreams?
It's a very exhilarating feeling of doing something your best and getting where you thought you could never go.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And Kaleb, we know you're committed to Air Force. You probably could have won state last year. You went to regionals just on one leg, basically. But just talk about what it means coming back from that. And I know you had a big lift over the summer where the football team was all around you. But talk about being able to get back and know that not only are you doing PRs and stuff, but everything's back working for you 100%.
Yeah, it's super comforting to know that everything is working again. I mean, whenever I got injured, it was kind of scary being like, man, am I ever going to kind of get back to that same place that I was at? Because I was pretty strong. I was peaking out whenever I injured myself, and then going into that whole thing, that was tough, but able to come back through hard work and, just keeping my mind right, keeping good people around me, the faith up, and able to get back to this place that I'm at now, and not even get back, but like surpass where I was at. It's awesome. And it's cool to look back on those times whenever it was hard, whenever I was injured, and see how far I've come. So.
Awesome. And Madison, let's talk about your 6th place finish. I mean, senior year, you get there and you just dominated. It just seemed like you were just sitting there saying the whole time, every time I'd see a video or a post, put another plate on, put another plate on. Okay. Talk about just that drive that you have about this sport.
Yeah, at first, when I first started the sport, honestly, I didn't quite have that same drive. It was kind of just like another sport for me. But then as I started getting to it, and my sophomore year, I went to regionals. That's when I really started to find the drive for it, and I got really excited. And so I started going to the gym more frequently and started actually really working on getting to a point where I wanted to be.
Awesome. Awesome. And
Jordan
Jordan Mckenzie. Go ahead,
interject, Tater?
Yeah.
She is the regional record holder for bench press in Region 3. So she holds that. At least she gets to defend it next year. So,
Hey now. Well, Jordan, let's talk about, the ladies of Midlothian have always had a legacy of having good power lifters. How does it feel to be the first Panther to podium in powerlifting?
Feels pretty darn good, I'll tell you that much. I feel like it feels like I accomplished something, so very proud of myself in that.
Well, folks, I forgot to mention, Jordan came in second in his weight class. And Jordan, what's one of the things that you're taking from powerlifting into the other sports that you play?
I mean, there on the physical standpoint, there's probably just, the strength that, that correlates over to it, but also just hard work and to keep pushing. I mean, that's one of the things about lifting weights and stuff like that is you get under something that you don't think you can do, but you just keep pushing up the weight. And so it's the same thing with other sports. You get put in a situation that you're not 100% certain you can do, and you just keep pushing through it. And then somehow you find yourself at the end of it and you just did it.
Well, Coach Anderson, me and you've talked about this before, just the mental aspect of sports is demanding. You know, what's one of the big things about the program and these four people right here on the mental side, just the mental side, that sets them apart from other people?
Well, I mean, you know, I tell them all the time that the weights don't lie. You can't fake lifting a weight. There's no shortcut. There's no cheating. I mean, if you're not low enough, you're not low enough. And these four right here, you know, their mental capacity going in, it didn't surprise me. I think it maybe surprised them, but it didn't surprise me. I knew what they could do, and then they proved to themselves that they could do it. You know, a lot of them, when they came in as freshmen, all of them came in as freshmen. They if you asked them they would be doing this today, they would have told you, no, I'm not going to be able to do this. There's no way. And that's with most kids. They just don't know what they can do, and they have so much in them. And these four right here gave it. I mean, they found out, and that's fun to watch when they find out and that light bulb goes off, and their eyes light up. They're going to be missed, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to be a part of. So,
well, Kodi, you know, one of the things about being a senior is inspiring the underclassmen and even the younger kids. What would you say to a young lady that is looking at powerlifting going, you know, what would you say to her to get her involved in powerlifting?
I would say that it gets, I don't know. It's just empowering to like be like one of the girls that does something like so cool that a lot of people don't expect from you.
That's awesome. And Madison, what about you?
Yeah, I would say the same thing about it's empowering. And also, like, at first, I too really thought like this is just gonna make me look more guyish or something. And that's what I thought at first. And I had people tell me that too. But eventually you just start to figure out that it's extremely fun. And it's just like any other sport. You're just really passionate about it, and it's really fun and it's enjoying. And so anytime like a girl says that it may seem more something that guys would do, it's not. It's really enjoyable, and you're going to just get a lot more out of it than just a sport itself.
Gotcha. And Kaleb, from a multiple sport athlete perspective, talk a little bit more about how this got you prepared to be able to get that look. You know, it's not just a quick twitch off the line all the time. You know, I don't think a lot of people understand, you know, that if you're going to be an athlete getting considered for college, you're that athlete in the classroom, in the weight room, and on the field. Can you talk about just how that amplified your opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has to do with what you just said. Like you're an athlete. You got to do everything. You got to be in the classroom, doing the best in the classroom. And then if you're an athlete, like listen to this, like play multiple sports, do different things, just so you can keep that competitive nature up. You know, I mean, it's always good to go out there and compete, put yourself out there, try and win no matter what you're doing. You know, like, I mean, y'all know, and Coach Anderson said, like, I'm a wrestler. Like, this is the first year I've done this. But I couldn't wrestle this year because I'm injured, and I'm looking forward to going to play football in college. And so Coach was like, come powerlift for me, man. Just come out here and do it. And I was like, all right. And it's just that competitive nature that you have as an athlete. You got to go out there and try and win no matter what you're doing. And so it's just the mentality of always competing, always wanting to win in the classroom, in sports, and whatever it is.
Well, in this sport, are you taking into that leadership role?
I mean, it's given me a lot of character traits, and it's definitely a blessing to be able to do this sport. You know, I realized pretty early on, whenever I was playing football, that, you know, I'm not the biggest guy out there. I'm, you know, only 5'7". You know, when I started football, I was like 134 pounds. You know, I was small. And I realized that, like, I could put in so much work, and I mean, I just wasn't going to be the best at it. I wasn't going to be anything, but I could join powerlifting, and that was something like I could be small. I didn't have to be the biggest guy, and I could still be, the best. And it was all based off of my hard work of how badly did I want it. And so I don't know exactly how it's going to translate to leadership and stuff like that, but I know how much it has improved my character, and how much tougher I've become, how much more hard work I'm able to put out, how much more dedicated I am to the things I want to pursue.
Well, and Coach, I'm going to skip you for a second, but I'm going to start with Kodi. Kodi, how much has Coach Anderson meant to you throughout your career as a powerlifter at MHS?
He's meant a lot. He's been there for like 4 years of my life. Like, you can't have someone in your life for that much. And like going to practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and like seeing him all the time, like he really has, he's impacted. He's always there. He's always a smiling face, and he's encouraging, and he's the way he like will get fake angry and like yell at you, but then he'll just start smiling. It's always been fun.
What about you, Kaleb?
Well, shoot, man, where do I start? It's not just powerlifting for me. It's every sport I do. He's the guy I'm always training with, always talking to him about, man, how can I get bigger? How can I get faster? How can I do this? And man, if you know me, whenever I put my mind to something, it's like I'm gonna do it, and that's a good thing. But like, it can also become like a super obnoxious, annoying thing, because like I'm always pestering people about like doing things that I want to do. But man, Coach Anderson never shunned me off one time. I'm coming up to him, man, Coach, man, I'm skinny as a freshman. My legs are skinny. I'm skinny. I want to get bigger. Like, what can I do? He's like, get in the weight room with me. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm like, man, Coach, now I'm too big. I want to get fast. He's like, well, let's go out on the track. Let's do it. I mean, everything that I've done as an athlete, a lot of that goes to Coach Anderson. I mean, pushing me to do things that I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And training me up, teaching us the right form. I mean, I can't even count how many dudes were at the state lift that they didn't even have like good form. And I was like, man, we are training so much better than half these dudes out here because we have good leadership, and that leadership is Coach Anderson.
Awesome. Madison?
Yeah, Coach Anderson, he's just a really honestly great role model and just a great person to look up to. And if you're having like a bad day or just like a bad lift in a meet, it's always just easy to go to him to ask, so what can I do to improve this? Or just like any helpful words that would help to get your next lift. Because I know I've had lots of lifts where at the first time I wasn't able to get them, but after talking to Coach Anderson, I was able to persevere and get those lifts. And so he's just overall a really great role model.
Jordan, what has he meant to you, man?
I mean, honestly, I think he's just a representation of like the best coach you can possibly be. I mean, you can talk about how, he's one of the funniest guys I've met. He has stories for days and days and all kinds of just absurd things he can tell you. And, so half of them are like, oh my gosh, this is the wisest thing I've ever heard. And the other half is like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. And you can talk about how smart he is. And, you can get him going for hours about the most random thing ever. And, but honestly, I think it's just he cares. Like that's what you get from him. Like he genuinely wants to see that person that person he's talking to, he genuinely wants to make that person better in everything he does. Like I've never seen him get angry at somebody just as a way of disciplining them or like striking them down. Like everything he does seems to be to make you a better person. And I remember it was like it was like probably second month of football as a freshman. And we're jacking around during warm-ups, and one of us is probably going to get hurt because we're acting like idiots in there, and we're not listening at all. And he has us he stops the workout and goes, when we don't know what's going on, he goes, jumping jacks. And this is like the first time he's ever been mad at jumping jacks. And we just start doing jumping jacks, and we don't know what's going on until like 5 minutes pass, and we're still doing jumping jacks. And he says skiers, and we start doing skiers. So for the entire practice, we did jumping jacks and skiers. But then you know what? After that, that's one of our favorite memories, our class. That's one of those memories that we all laugh at, and we never messed up warm-ups again. We always warmed up right after that point. And so he truly cares, and he gets angry when he needs to get angry. He's nice when he needs to be nice, and he's a figure you can look up to when you need to look up to someone.
That is well spoken. Well spoken. Coach Anderson, you know, a lot of people don't know who the strength and conditioning coach is at their high schools, but you know, strength and conditioning coaches touch so many lives through the athletic department. What has it meant to you to touch not only these 4 lives, but all the lives that you've touched there at Midlothian?
Well, hopefully I get to do it for the rest. You know, I don't want to go anywhere. Hopefully I'm here for a while, as long as they'll have me. But yeah, like you said, I knew this going in. You know, the strength coach is a different breed. We are, you know, always coaching football. We're always coaching basketball. We're always coaching volleyball. We're always coaching track and powerlifting and soccer and all these things. And you've got different personalities. And the most challenging thing is to not change, but be in the right mindset for whatever team and whatever coach is coming into that weight room. You have to know, and you have to be able to adjust and work with so many people and so many different personalities, and some you get along with and some you don't. But it's about the kid. You got to make the kid better. You got to make the team better. So yeah, it's great to be, I'm a strength coach at heart. I'm trained, but to be a strength coach, you can't be a strength coach just on a whim. You have to put in the time. You have to pay your dues. You know, I started out, as a grad assistant, and then I started out as an intern, $0 pay, hours, 15 hours a day, $0. And it's one of those things that hopefully, I don't think I'll ever go back there, but hopefully that any strength coach that hires has gone through that, or they're not going to have the understanding and the hard work and just the compromise that you have to make just so these kids get better and get what they need. And that's the fun part about it is there's nothing I wouldn't do for them. They ask me, I'm going to do it. If they ask if something of me, then I'm going to make sure that I give everything I got to make sure that they accomplish their goals. Well,
folks, all I can tell you is if you're in Ellis County and you want to know who your strength conditioning coach, go to a football game, and whoever's holding the head coach back normally is the strength conditioning coach. Okay? Want to congratulate each and every one of y'all, Kodi, Madison, Jordan, Kaleb. Congratulations on such a great showing. Folks, join powerlifting, and guess what? It'll get you to the next level. Thank y'all.
We see the future in her. And as she grows, bonds are bigger. Lessons are learned. We plan for her future with those we trust. So when the day comes and she's ready to soar, she'll do it knowing there's always someone there. Pinnacle Bank, not just a bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Member FDIC.
I'm so proud of her, so excited for her. She's worked so hard all 4 years, and I couldn't find a better kid than Haley. The hard work pays off. I mean, if you've got the right attitude and go out there and bust your tail every day and just every day look for some way to get better, that you never know what will happen. I'm sure Haley wasn't even thinking about going in college her freshman year, and then her senior year, she's really she's peaking at the right time and doing a great job. And
definitely my parents. Like, my mom and my dad used to throw in high school, so they were always very supportive of me, like, wanting to try track and stuff. And then they always, especially like weekends, they would try and help me practice my throws or my spins. And then also all my coaches that I've had, because through my high school career I've had multiple, so also my freshman head coach really helped get my love for throwing. And then the second year I had Coach Cochran. He's now the boys throwing coach, which they're lucky to have him. And then the junior year was Coach Profit, and she's definitely helped increase my throwing. And this year it's been Coach Cox. He's been half of our coach, kind of he would help teach me certain tricks and tips to help throw farther. And then Coach Profit, again, she was also our coach this year. So, and I also want to thank Coach Scott. She's been really helpful, and she's always supported me and made me feel like part of a family in our track. So I'm really happy that, that I'm signing and stuff. I used to it was more like a hobby, and then for some reason this year it took my head to love this sport, and I was I want to go to college and throw. And it just so happened that Coach Cox, who's the SAGU coach for throwers, he brought his throwers to our track so that they could practice because they don't have one yet. And just meeting them and then seeing how nice they were. And I've always wanted to go to SAGU since I was a little girl, because I've mainly lived in Waxahachie my whole life. So it just kind of grew that love and made me want to. So it's just kind of one of those colleges that I've heard so much positivity about that it's just kind of stayed in my head to always want to go to. So I'm going to be studying business administration. When I graduate, when I graduate with my master's, I want to own my own roller rink. So I think hammer, in my opinion. It's always seemed cool to watch them spin it and release. I don't know, it just looks so cool. So I would say hammer would be I think I'd be so excited to throw for the first time. Wish me luck. Future SAGU Lion.